thought it was a stolen last hit. Still, the entire team worked together to corner the Heavenly King. Midu grabbed Stone Gaia's head and climbed to the watchtower. He held it up for everyone, shouting that they had taken down the Heavenly King of Earth. He then commanded the demons to surrender in the name of their fallen commander's blood. The demons were instantly shocked, dropping their weapons the moment they saw their master's severed head. Captain Amelia seized the chance, letting out a victorious cry. This boosted the morale of every human fighter on the field. Heinrich looked pretty beat up, but he was just happy the hero candidates pulled off the win. Soon after, humans quickly took back control of Fort Arliss, a super important spot. Meanwhile, Kai and Mir were still doing their sneaky thing. Mir wondered how the humans won since both armies seemed to have about the same number of fighters. Kai explained that the Demon King's army relies heavily on its charismatic leaders. When a leader falls, their organized resistance just collapses. He pointed out this was exactly what happened when they defeated Vimberg before. After Wimberg fell, not a single demon even chased them. Kai saw this dependence as a big weakness for the Demon King's forces. Mir then asked if Kai should have even landed the final blow, since his whole plan was to train and support his classmates from the sidelines. Honestly, Kai didn't have a choice. Stone Gaia's transformation unleashed an insane killing intent. If Kai hadn't stepped in, the entire class would have been wiped out. Plus, he was just doing his job as an assassin after all. He just hoped Meidu and the others would get it. He might not show it, but he actually sounded super protective of his friends. Quickly changing the subject, Kai told Mir to just call him by his name. Mir was totally caught off guard. The elf girl blushed hard and stumbled over her words. After taking a moment to calm down, she quietly asked if she could really call him Kai. He said that level of familiarity was totally fine with him. Kai turned to see just how much Mir was blushing. She tried her best to play it cool, but it didn't work at all. With this, Kai had now taken down 2 of the 4 Heavenly Kings. That's half of the Demon King's top generals gone. But don't forget, the Demon King also has descendants, and they're at least as strong as Isabel. So, the journey to finally defeat the Demon King is still going to be super long. Now, let's jump to a different place, where a beast-eared maiden is being hunted by some sketchy characters. She was pretty beaten up, covered in scratches and wounds, but her feisty spirit was still shining through. The demons chasing her admired her courage, but her body was clearly hitting its limits. Meanwhile, a young demon shared some big news with his subordinate. He finally caught the princess. With her capture, the Beastmen Federation was totally done for. Fast forward a week after they took down the Heavenly King of Earth. Fort Arliss was now a human stronghold, and the whole kingdom was buzzing with good vibes. The army's win brought everyone's spirits up. Knights were hyped, and the hero candidates became super famous, seen as humanity's biggest hope. The king personally thanked Meidu, the class leader, for his awesome work at Fort Arliss. Meidu got a big reward. He was made a lord and an official knight, but as soon as he escaped the stuffy throne room, he just wanted to chill and grab some tea with his friends. Hashimoto found it pretty funny that their super brave leader was so nervous. Amelia teased him a bit too. Heinrich, though, totally got it. Meidu wasn't exactly an expert in noble manners. Good thing they gave him a quick etiquette lesson before the title ceremony. It made his meeting with the king go as smoothly as possible. Meidu just didn't want to disrespect the king or make things worse for his whole class. But Heinrich thought Meidu was getting way too involved in kingdom business. Now as an official knight, he'd have responsibilities, like it or not. Heinrich knew everything about noble society, so he was the perfect coach. Everyone knew the church actually held the real power in the kingdom. In fact, Meidu's new knighthood was even ordered by the Pope himself. So, about that knighthood, Meidu was now officially the captain of the 11th Knight Corps. This squad would be called the Heroes Corps, packed with hero candidates, basically the strongest raid force in the entire kingdom. Meidu wondered if his new title actually meant anything, or if he was just becoming another puppet for the church. Heinrich said that explaining all the complicated stuff about state power and authority would take forever. But either way, Meidu was now on the same level as other captains, and that came with some serious duties. Out on the edge of the fort, Meyer and Kai linked up with Kenzaki for an update on the local gangs. Kenzaki added that Meidu was actually the one who pushed for a position of authority. Meyer just figured it was a well-earned promotion, nothing more. But really, the kingdom just wanted to turn Meidu into a symbol for everyone. This also showed people that the kingdom totally controlled the hero candidates. Bottom line, this wasn't good news at all. Luckily, Kai stayed super focused on his main goal, getting back home. He couldn't shake the feeling that the kingdom and Leonora were actually pretty similar. Both saw hero candidates as just disposable pawns. Before they split, Kenzaki finally managed to ask who the elf girl was. Kai casually introduced Meyer. Kenzaki took one look and instantly felt her best girl title was in serious danger. Meyer quickly cleared things up, saying she and Kai were just travel buddies. But when someone asked Kenzaki the same thing, she totally fumbled her words. She tried to say she was Kai's friend, but Kai, ever so blunt, immediately shut that down. He said friend wasn't right, collaborator fit much better. Kenzaki actually liked that title a bit more. Back in their old world, they hadn't even really talked. Anyway, Kai knew the hero candidates were after the Demon King, so he planned to work in the shadows just like he did with Stone Gaia. Kenzaki's new job was being the messenger between him and the others. Before Kai left for his next spot, Kenzaki begged him to let her join. Kai checked her out, then quickly said no to her request. But secretly, he knew he needed her to keep tabs on everyone else. A lot of candidates didn't like his plans, so Kenzaki's reliability was super important. Kenzaki, putting on her best tsundere act, just accepted her role. She was also the only one who knew the class leader actually respected Kai a lot. Kai just hoped Midu would make the right moves on his own. Midu's growth was seriously key to beating the Demon King. But Kai actually had a whole plan behind all this crazy stuff. He knew for sure that fighting the Demon King's army wouldn't be a one-man show. Yeah, he and Meyer took down Wimberg by themselves, but honestly, that win was way too close. Kenzaki totally freaked when Kai just casually mentioned killing another Heavenly Demon King. Meyer's super cheerful explanation of how they took down the Heavenly King of the Wind didn't make Kenzaki feel any better. The other hero candidates barely managed to match Stone Gaia, but Kai did it with just 2 people. Kenzaki could also sense something really special about Meyer. She couldn't help but compare herself to the elf. Kenzaki knew her own contribution against Stone Gaia wasn't a huge deal. Kai also spilled that there were way stronger enemies than even the 4 Heavenly Kings. Right now, facing those super strong guys would be impossible. Kenzaki's job was to watch their classmates and the kingdom closely. Kai promised to keep in touch. She got her new role, and she really wanted to do it for Kai. Before he left, Kai told Meidu his plan to defeat the Demon King his own way. Meyer ran off with him, cheerfully waving goodbye to Kenzaki. That talk really sparked something inside Kenzaki. She couldn't just be a background character, she had to get stronger. Right after Stone Gaia's defeat, the Holy Kingdom's army launched a massive invasion into demonic lands. The new Heroes Corps boosted the army's morale big time. They pushed with all their might, taking over territory after territory. This allowed the Holy Kingdom to conquer many forts near Urugano Mountain, finally liberating Neutrat City. This conquest happened because 2 Heavenly Demon Kings died so quickly. Without Wimberg, the Demon King's logistics guy, their army was bound to fall apart. What the Holy Kingdom didn't realize was that Aragi Kai was behind a lot of this. With the campaign over, the hero candidates returned to the kingdom for a huge celebration. Narumi partied hard, drinking all he wanted. The victory banquet thrown for them was a total blast. Here, 15-year-olds are considered adults and can drink. Hashimoto lectured Narumi about underage drinking, then snagged the booze for herself. Midu chuckled, but he wasn't having as much fun as everyone else. Midu was still in his night gear, showing he wasn't relaxed. Rina picked up on his stress and told him to chill out. Even though they'd won, some sharp eyes noticed the demon army's command structure was totally broken. Midu still had his doubts. The victory felt way too easy. He even wondered if it was a trap. Rina jumped in, telling him he was too cautious and that the Demon King's army was just a bunch of idiots. But Midu knew better. They only won because Kai helped from the shadows. Rina just wouldn't believe that the edgy Kai could do something so huge. This made Kenzaki upset, so she jumped in to defend him. She explained that while they fought on the front lines, Kai was busy tearing apart the enemy's back lines. Kenzaki added that their victory was only possible because Kai killed another Heavenly King in the area, wrecking the enemy's defenses. Some people were still unsure, but Midu knew she was telling the truth. Narumi felt weird knowing they had such a powerful ally hidden in the shadows. Rina was the most skeptical, totally refusing to believe Kai could beat someone so strong. Arashi got dragged into the talk, mostly annoyed these kids interrupted his chicken feast. Remembering the blade that finished off Stone Gaia, he just kept eating his food and wouldn't talk about Kai. Hashimoto argued that even if Kai's actions were true, they still couldn't forgive him. Midu slowly left the pointless conversation and asked Kenzaki for Kai's location. She didn't know exactly where he was, but she knew he was figuring out his own way to kill the Demon King. Speaking of Demon Kings, let's check out the western territory of Neutrat City, right in the heart of the demonic kingdom. Deep in a thick forest, Kai found himself surrounded by orcs. He calmly waited for the brutes to make the first move, and they did. Dodging attacks from these aggressive, brainless creatures was super easy for our guy. When another orc tried to jump in, it got a nasty shot of sand right to the eyes. The brute definitely didn't expect a dirty trick like that, taking the full blast of sand. Kai tried to hit them with a thundershock spell, hoping to do some damage, but he just wasn't skilled enough yet to make it fully work. The spell fizzled, leaving him wide open for a huge club swing aimed right at his head. Things could have gone really bad if someone else hadn't stepped in. Suddenly, a wave of fire wiped out the whole orc group in an instant. Even so, Kai scolded Mare for overdoing it. She shot back, saying she wouldn't have helped if his thunder shock hadn't failed. Kai couldn't believe magic was so tough, especially after how much his mana control had improved. Turns out Kai's natural element was thunder, which is super rare. It's fast and strong, but also incredibly hard to control because it's so wild. Honestly, him being able to even form these spells was statistically impossible. If he just had one of those elemental divine protections, he'd be unstoppable by now. Still, he needed to keep practicing how to use thunder in his fights. Maybe he messed up the spell earlier because the orc in front of him distracted him. When you cast magic, you need a super clear picture of the power you're using. That's also why magic usually isn't for close combat. It's too hard to focus. But Kai? He was different. He needed to figure out how to use magic even when he was up close, with daggers and in melee range. Kai knew he'd need totally new and wild powers to beat the Demon King. That's why he was so glad Mare was there to guide him, with all her knowledge as the sage's disciple. While Mare was busy acting all cute and shy, Kai suddenly sensed something unwelcome close by. Just like that, a whole new group of orcs surrounded him and Mare from everywhere. But for Kai, this was actually a good thing. With the whole orc tribe showing up, Kai would have tons of targets to practice on. Moments later, the crowd got even bigger. It wasn't just orcs this time. All sorts of beasts and demons came out to join the fight. Ugly monsters poured in from everywhere, each one worse than the last. Kai didn't care how many there were. All he wanted was to get some thundershock practice in. This time his spell actually worked, and he sent thunder right into his enemies. But besides the initial zap and crackle, it didn't do any real damage. Yeah, it singed a little skin, but it wasn't strong enough to be a killing blow. At least he used it in a real fight, even if it packed zero punch. An orc tried to sneak attack him from the side, but Kai easily dodged out of the way. He quickly got up into one of the trees, putting on a show of speed and accuracy the monsters had never seen. While they were stunned by his amazing moves from above, the monsters completely missed the rain of blades. Each blade found a vital spot, taking down the orcs in a single, messy hit. Kai's daggers were his go-to weapon. They were mana-infused, and he threw them with incredible aim and force. Magic? That still needed some serious work. As he was deep in thought, a huge white ape tried to ambush him from above. Big mistake. Soon, its blood was splattering everywhere. That ape was an easy kill, just a quick decapitation. Kai held onto a tree branch, still thinking. He noticed more trouble. Flying monsters were now joining the fight. To deal with them, he dropped back to the ground. He waited for his moment. Then with sharp focus and deadly strikes, he took down all the flying monsters. After that, Kai jumped back into the trees, using them to create some distance from the beasts. But then, one smart monster used its brute strength to knock down a tree. The sheer number of enemies was insane. It was tough to keep track of everything. Even so, Kai stayed totally calm. Deep in the monster crowd, one creature really stood out. It was a boss monster. Finally, Kai had a perfect test subject to try out some new moves. Kai gripped his twin daggers, his amazing eyes already mapping out his next steps. Nearby, Mir was just blasting away, non-stop. She kept throwing destruction spells at the endless waves of monsters. With her power, she seemed fine, as long as her mana held up. Mir really wanted to break free from this trap. They would just get worn out if they stayed. Luckily, Kai totally agreed with her. They started to retreat, but not before Kai left his mark, painting the ground red with monster blood. The duo ran, going as fast and steady as possible. Not only were there tons of monsters, but their levels were also super high. This is what happens when you dive deep into demon territory. Demons can control low-level monsters, so this land is perfect for them and them alone. The pair kept running until they hit a dead end, a cliff. From that cliff, they saw the demonic kingdom spread out under the night sky. It was a wild, unsettling view, with strange colored monsters everywhere. About a week after that scout mission, things really kicked off back in their kingdom. Using their previous success, they launched another campaign to grab even more demonic land. They were feeling pretty good after their last win, but this time, they were in for a huge shock. As they moved through the woods, their biggest problem wasn't demons, it was monsters. The monsters here were on a whole different level, both in number and strength. They'd never seen anything like it. While the hero candidates and knights were getting stronger fast and could handle themselves, countless regular soldiers became easy targets. Amelia did her best to protect her forces with clever formations, but they were simply overwhelmed. Heinrich was the first to admit it. They were totally outmatched by the demons, even though the demons hadn't even shown their faces yet. This made them think a powerful demon was nearby, pulling the strings and controlling all the monsters. Medu had actually guessed right. A high-ranking demon was indeed behind this whole massacre. Her name was Elsa, and she was dead set on breaking humanity's military power. She didn't care how many monsters died. Her plan was simple. Once the human army was completely worn out, the real demon attack would begin. and that moment arrived. The Demon King's main army stepped forward, and Medu instantly told the commander they needed to retreat. Commander Amelia quickly realized they had been completely outsmarted and outgunned. Their only hope now was a successful retreat. But this escape came at a high price, with many soldiers dying at the rear. Even the demons were surprised. They hadn't expected the humans to be so weak. The demons had been careful, but it only took this much to send the humans running away. The demon soldiers gave all the credit for this win to their clever boss, Elsa. This huge victory meant humanity would surely think twice before trying another invasion. They'd be too afraid of the demons' true power. Plus, the demons had just taken over the Beastmen Federation. This meant they could now fully focus on the war against humans. The demon soldiers were totally sure they would win this war. Meanwhile, Mare and Kai watched the whole battle silently from a safe distance. Mare and Kai had gathered information about the Beastmen, and it was definitely alarming. Kai, being the information fiend he was, wanted to dig even deeper and learn more about it. Back on the human side, the Holy Kingdom's army sadly pulled back to the closest human settlement. Medics there worked non-stop to treat all the injured soldiers. Meanwhile, the army leaders gathered to figure out what went wrong. They had successfully taken back all the human lands at the border, but the second they tried to enter demon territory, they were utterly crushed. Given how bad things were, they were desperate for any good ideas. The biggest problem was how to fight against the endless waves of monsters in the area. If they couldn't find a way to stop them, trying to push into enemy territory was just a dream. They were shocked that demons were using such advanced skills and tactics. Before this, the Demon King's army had fought without any real strategies. But now, it looked like they were taking humanity seriously. Medu believed they were up against a smart enemy, a high-ranking demon who was creating and leading all these monster attacks. Scouting reports suggested they could probably get by if they just went through the forest of monsters. But that was much harder than it sounded. The forest was huge, and there were only a few paths through it. Moving an entire army through there seemed almost impossible. A few knights suggested they should regroup for now and plan their next move. Even though they had successfully freed many territories, their recent expedition caused too many losses. They knew they only had themselves to blame for pushing too far after taking back the lost lands. Before, high morale was their only real advantage, but now that was completely gone. Hashimoto then spoke up, reminding everyone that their main target was still the Demon King. But if taking down the Demon King was easy, they wouldn't be in this mess. When asked for ideas, Hashimoto suggested making their army even bigger. The problem? That would just slow them down and lead to even more losses. Gathering more soldiers wouldn't help. It would just mean more people getting hurt. So, Midu had a different idea. Instead of more numbers, they should train special elite forces. Amelia quickly agreed. After all, the current expedition already had the very best fighters. Training these elites would boost their survival chances big time. It would take a while, sure, but it was the most realistic path forward. The knights were all for it, but Midu felt a weird sense of unease about this plan. The thing was, the kingdom's goals and the hero candidate's goals were totally different. Midu and his crew just wanted to defeat the Demon King and go home. But the Holy Kingdom was more focused on fixing its own issues. That's why the top knights were okay with just keeping things as they were, scared to stir things up. Heinrich noticed Midu's worry and told him to speak up. From their talk, it sounded like taking down the Demon King would take years, and they simply couldn't wait that long. Amelia's own estimate said they'd need 2 years just to get their strength back. Sure, everyone wanted to defeat the Demon King ASAP, but they just didn't have the power to do it right now. The knights were pretty happy with just getting back the lands humanity had lost. Midu understood their point, and knew the majority had already made up their minds. Still, he was worried about his classmates. He knew many of them were just itching to go back home. After the meeting wrapped up, Midu, Hashimoto, and Heinrich left. Heinrich, the noble captain, saw how upset Midu was, but he pointed out that Amelia's decisions were all about what was best for the kingdom. To change things, they needed more influence, something they just didn't have yet. Heinrich also cautioned Midu not to rush into anything. Though he said it bluntly, Heinrich was really just looking out for them. The captain asked Midu straight up if he wanted to see his friends die. He explained that being impatient would only lead to disaster. Plus, while the hero candidates were strong, they still had a lot of room to improve. It made more sense for everyone to train up and sharpen their skills for one final, huge push. Everyone wanted to get back to their own world, that was for sure. But getting wiped out by demons was way worse than just training for a couple more years. Midu knew this all too well. If Heinrich hadn't saved them during their first fight with Stone Gaia, they'd all be gone by now. And don't forget, the demon world eats the weak, creating beings even tougher than the 4 heavenly kings. The kingdom was really counting on these hero candidates to grow stronger. After finally seeing the bigger picture, Midu accepted the plan and gave the team the full rundown. For him, his friends' lives always came first, no matter what. Midu totally hardened his resolve to get way stronger. He swore he'd get everyone home safe, no matter how long it took. But when he told the others they'd be stuck in this new world longer than expected, the reactions were, well, pretty mixed. Everyone immediately wanted to know how long they'd be gone. Hashimoto, looking pretty uncomfortable, admitted it would be at least 2 years. Yeah, 2 years is a huge chunk of time to train, but it was way better than just risking their lives for nothing. The person who absolutely hated this whole compromise, that was Arashi. The guy just straight up kicked the table in front of him. He wasn't having any of this plan. Nope. Even if they won, Arashi argued, people might die, but he insisted they only needed to kill the demon lord. He said that anyone who was scared could sit and wait. Midu yelled that he didn't want anyone to die, which was why his option was best. Arashi lost his temper, stomped his foot, and charged forward, calling Midu a coward. He prepared to throw a punch, yelling, "Let me open your eyes!" Midu immediately summoned his holy sword and used shield mode, creating a defensive barrier. The punch was blocked, but still created a large explosion and caused significant damage. Smoke and dust filled the air. A voice echoed from the dust cloud. "You think you can beat me with just that?" Midu continued, arguing they had to defeat the demon lord together, as they already had trouble with just one heavenly king. He felt it was best to train and improve their skills. Arashi, still holding up his fist, challenged, "You think you've won?" Chains appeared, restraining both of them, accompanied by Jin's voice telling them not to move. Both looked over in surprise. Jin yelled at them to calm down, asking if they were trying to destroy the castle. Midu withdrew his hand. "My bad, Kanzaki." Arashi strained and broke the chains, calling them annoying. Jin muttered about the energy he expended creating that dominion spell. Arashi insisted they should develop their strength through battles, as trials make them grow faster. He asked Midu if he understood. Mireille stepped forward, agreeing with Midu. Rina also spoke up, asking if it wouldn't be better to be safe than to be wiped out. Heike said the world wasn't so bad, and Satoshi didn't want to be killed because of impatience. Carrie raised her hand slightly, agreeing with Arashi. Rina asked why. Carrie replied that she understood Midu's point, but wanted to go home as soon as possible. Yumi noted that everyone felt that way. Carrie's eyes welled up with tears, as she confessed she only had her sick mother at home. She remembered her mother in her sickbed, worried because she was all alone. Tsao also sided with Arashi, explaining he lived with his younger sister after their parents abandoned them. He wanted to go back to help her. Shiori lowered her head, admitting her reason wasn't as compelling, but her family must be worried. She couldn't let them wait another 2 years. Hearing those words, the others felt sad. Midu, seeing their expressions, understood. Narumi declared boisterously that he had about 3 girlfriends and also wanted to go back. Mireille commented on his nerve. Atsushi smiled, stating they would always be Arashi's allies. Kina agreed, saying following Arashi was the right decision. Akira seemed hesitant, but compared to Midu's hesitation, he felt he should trust the decisive Arashi. Arashi turned back to them. "Midu, they've already said it." Midu hung his head speechless, asking himself what to do. Arashi strode forward confidently, saying there was no need for further discussion. He walked out the door, announcing he would act on his own. "Anyone willing to die, come with me." Those who supported Arashi immediately followed. Carrie also turned to leave. Rina and Yumi tried to hold her back, calling her name. Carrie closed her eyes and chose to follow her heart, apologizing to Rina as she followed Arashi's group. Those who remained watched them go with worried looks. Mireille asked Narumi why he wasn't going. He replied that they needed a liaison. Jean felt conflicted, wanting to follow Arashi for his grandfather's sake, but remembering guidance from Shinju to stay. Outside, Kai and Mireille returned and stood before everyone. A voice shouted, "What do you want, you bastard?" The crowd preparing to leave became agitated upon seeing Kai. "Shinju, how dare you come here?" Akira snapped at them to not cause a scene. Kai glanced over. Arashi cautioned him, looking down and saying, "We don't have time for you. If you don't have a good reason for showing up, you'll pay the price." Kai spoke seriously. "You're right. I think I should be honest. I want to borrow your strength." Arashi was surprised and asked. Before Kai appeared, he and Mireille were outside listening. She turned and asked, "Your classmates are arguing. Are they really okay?" Kai replied, "I don't know, however. Their thoughts sound reasonable. Like Midas said, they can't do this alone. On the other hand, the Holy Kingdom's approach is too passive. What Arashi said about waiting 2 years is also true, but it's definitely more dangerous." Mireille, Mayor, asked Kai, "If it were you, what would you do?" He raised his hand. "There are 3 ways to break this current situation. First, change the mindset of the leaders of the Holy Kingdom. We have to force them to change. As long as I can return to my world, nothing else matters. But I don't think Midu will agree with this plan." Mireille asked, "What's the second option?" Kai answered, "We'll do what Arashi said, use guerrilla tactics. Based on the information we've gathered and according to what Isabel said, the Demon Kingdom isn't united. If we sabotage their rear, we can incite a civil war. Although I don't think Arashi can do that." Mireille, having seen his hot-headed personality, agreed. So, what about the third option? Kai smiled. We act based on the information we have. We'll gather some more information. If everything goes well, we can get help from other parties. Ultimately, it will force the Demon Kingdom's army to act. Amidst a large fire, Kai sat with Arashi's group. Arashi frowned. What the hell is the Cat Tribe princess? Kai replied. She's the daughter of the Cat Tribe chief. It seems like she's been captured. She's one of the most important people of the Beast Tribe, that's for sure. He added, that's the information I got after torturing a lot of demons, so this information might be true. The girls felt scared upon hearing the word torture, thinking he was terrifying. Akira wondered who he really was and how he had a pistol. Ineo noticed Mireille, Mayor, and thought she was cute. Arashi, biting meat, continued, that's why I asked what the hell is this princess thing? What do we have to do with the beastmen? Atsushi asked if they were animals with ears for tails. Kinta exclaimed he wanted to see them, saying they must be adorable. Arashi snapped, shut up you guys. Kai continued, now let's talk about our plan. First, you know there's a Beastman nation in the Southern Territory, right? Akira asked. The Grandana's Beastman Federation. Kai confirmed it was a neutral nation. Arashi seemed doubtful. You're telling us to seek their help? They're just a bunch of demon-fearing cowards. Mireille interrupted. Their soldiers are stronger than you think. Their physical abilities and senses are honed. They've repelled the Demon Lord's army's invasions multiple times. Arashi questioned why they were so passive then. Mireille smiled, explaining they weren't strong enough to annihilate the Demon Lord's army, which had focused on humans. Kai stated the main point. If the Holy Kingdom and the Beastmen joined forces, it would be entirely possible. Akira spoke up. I understand. So that's why we need the princess. Kari asked, we just need to rescue the princess and use her as a bargaining chip. Kai replied, basically yes. I already have information on their supply route. I want you guys to be the bait. His gaze was serious. Just devastate the place with your explosion, while I'll stay hidden. Akira interrupted. I get your point, but why hasn't the Holy Kingdom tried to secure cooperation with the Federation? Kai exclaimed. Good question, Nanomiya. Mireille answered. The Federation also hates demons, but humans have always called beastmen inferior and oppressed them. Therefore, the beastmen hate humans. Carrie worried. So asking for their cooperation will be very difficult, right? Kai added, the Cat Tribe princess has been captured. The situation is very favorable for us. Mireille smiled. Beastmen are known for keeping their promises. Once we rescue her, we can negotiate. After the plan was laid out, everyone fell silent. Kai asked, it's worth a try, right? I'm sure you guys don't have any plans. Arashi stood up. You suddenly appeared and made such a demand. You always act like you know everything, Chao's voice called out, reminding Arashi his decision would affect everyone's lives. Arashi struggled, gritting his teeth, upset with Kai. Everyone waited. Finally, he made his decision. Fine, we'll do it your way. Morning came, and Kai and Arashi's group began to move. Carrie spoke up. We've been heading south this whole time. Is that really okay? Kai replied, yes. The Grandana's Federation is located in the southern region. As for the demons, they're transporting the prisoners north. Our destination is the road through the forest south of the Demon Kingdom's territory. We'll know exactly where they're going. Akira added, Eso. To be precise, we're infiltrating the Demon Kingdom. Is there a chance we'll be discovered? Kai reassured everyone. Don't worry, I've gathered information on the routes. Although the path might be rough, and there are a lot of monsters. Akira wondered if their carriage could get through. Kai added, there's also something important. If we encounter danger, we can rely on Sorero's abilities, right? Tomoko replied excitedly. Of course. Her divine protection was multi-dimensional space. She turned to Kai. It's been a while, but you still remember my divine protection? He replied, because your ability is very special. Tomoko seemed pleased. Kai turned to Shinju, which seems to be Kai's alias. Have you been infiltrating the Demon Kingdom since the incident? He replied, not exactly. I've been searching for clues so we can go home. Shiori immediately asked, so what are the results? Kai's answer was, we only have one option to defeat the Demon Lord, so I've gathered all the necessary information. Akira wondered, so the result is that the Beast Tribe princess has been kidnapped? That's so like Shinju. Arashi Arise seemed impatient. By the way, is it okay for us to be walking this slowly? Shouldn't we be planning a raid? Kai agreed. You're right, we need to speed up. Let's have Sorero store the luggage and the carriage. That evening, the group switched to traveling on foot. Arashi noticed immediately and shouted, Monsters! Everyone get ready! They were surrounded by ferocious night wolves. Behind Shiori, a wolf lunged. Kai immediately stepped forward to protect her. The wolf bit Kai's arm but only broke its teeth. Kai smirked. Sorry, but your attack can't get through my steel. He then punched it hard. Akari reminded everyone, we're surrounded. Support members gather in the center. Vanguard pushed them back. She used a support command to buff her teammates. Those with combat abilities stepped forward. Empowered, they quickly took down the wolves. Kari, with her control abilities, launched vines and shouted, "Stop!" The bound wolf stumbled. Ineo rushed forward and dealt a finishing blow. Meanwhile, another wolf leaped towards Arashi, Erasure. He calmly reached out and grabbed its neck. "Trash, you're nothing in front of me." He blasted it with an explosion. The wolf was charred black. Arashi tossed it aside and asked if anyone was hurt. Kai observed and thought, everyone's doing great, I don't need to worry. It's good that Erasure is realizing his leadership potential. He then reminded everyone, if anyone gets hurt, have Hano heal you. Kai sensed something approaching. "Mayu," he called out. A sharp-fanged wolf remains. It appeared behind Arashi, startling him. "There's still one left," Mayu shouted. "Fire salamander!" A large flame swept past, incinerating the wolf. Atsushi marveled at the firepower. Kina exclaimed, "Look, it's completely roasted. Isn't she much stronger than Naga?" Arashi clicked his tongue. Really unnecessary, Shinju's girlfriend. Hearing this, Mayu blushed and pointed fiercely at Kai, who's his girlfriend. He remained calm. "Be a little grateful. She just saved you." Arashi gave him a dubious look. Mayu stared intently at Kai, waiting. He walked away. "I don't care about such trivial things," she retorted. "This isn't trivial." Atsushi sounded envious. Kenta admired. "I also want to find a beautiful girlfriend here." After the battle, the girls approached Mayu. Carrie waved. "Hey, your name is Mayu, right? Do you want to talk with us? Are you a sprite?" Mayu looked at Kai for help, but he remained indifferent. "What are you looking at me for? Do what you want." She smiled brightly and replied, "Okay." Kai was relieved to see Mayu fitting in. Sometime later, on a nearby cliff, Arashi, Erasure, sitting down, asked, "Are you sure they'll pass through here? I don't want to wait for days." Kai used his appraisal eye to look down below. He saw small figures moving closer. "Don't worry, I see them." Kai used his divine power to assess the demon army. He realized there were 3 low-level demons, 15 mid-level demons, and more in the carriages. Among them, only one level 36 demon. His name is Zaganda, 57 years old, a high-ranking demon. His stats are all at A and B levels. His skills are level 4 wind magic, level 2 demon fire magic, and level 2 demon enslavement magic. Arashi asked, "A high-ranking demon is their leader, right?" Kai replied, "Probably. Don't underestimate him. Although he's not as strong as Stone Gear, a high-ranking demon is still formidable." Hearing that, Arashi frowned. "Leave him to me. If you get in my way, I'll kill you." Kai glanced at him. "I intended to leave him to you from the beginning. Our strategy is simple. First, Erasure will distract them with his explosive shot skill. Once their formation is broken, we'll surround them. Everyone else will move in teams of 3. Kai continued giving orders. "Inio and Zanagi, you must protect Hano." The two acknowledged. "Next, Ozaki, your mission is to locate and escort the wounded." Ozaki replied, "Leave it to me." "Mayu, you support everyone from the rear. Erasure, your mission is to confront the high-ranking demon. While you're fighting, I'll sneak in and rescue the princess. Once she's safe, I'll signal you. Finally, everyone else, act according to the situation. If things get unfavorable, you can retreat." Arashi appeared confident. "Don't worry, once I blow their leader's head off, the rest will scatter." Kai looked at him. "All right, I'll leave you in charge of the battle." Someone in the crowd spoke up. "You should know we're here because you need our help." Kinta shouted agreement. "That's right. What's with the high and mighty act?" Atsushi pointed accusingly. "Don't you dare order Arashi-san around." From behind, Arashi, furious, yelled, "Shut up, you idiots!" and knocked their heads. He stepped forward. "Hurry up and get ready. We'll follow his plan." On the demon army's side, Zaganda was observing. A demon complained, "I'm tired, boss." "Ever since we left the two people's territory," Zaganda yelled, "we're almost there. Don't get careless." Then he thought, "I anticipated this. It really is tiring." Zaganda closed his eyes. "Sitting on the horse this whole time has made my back ache, but I can't let the soldiers see me like this." An idea popped into his head. "That's right. I should go check on the prisoner girl." He turned to the soldiers. "I'm going to see what that girl is doing. Guard carefully." The soldiers thought, the old man wants to sneak off and rest. A beast woman was tied up, the princess, Sina. Zaganda entered and sat by the door, fatigued. "Finally, we're here." He rubbed his chin and looked at Sina. "Princess, what do you think? We're almost at the city where you'll be imprisoned. Your Federation soldiers can't reach this far." Sina complained. "This carriage is ridiculously bumpy." He stopped, surprised, then cleared his throat. "But don't worry. If the Federation obeys our orders, you'll be released." Sina shook her head. "That it's useless. Once you've captured me, the Federation won't bow down." He smirked. "That it seems you still don't understand your position." She remained defiant. "If you think kidnapping me will persuade them, you're an idiot." Zaganda's eyes flashed. "Watch your mouth, you bitch!" He grabbed the front of her shirt and ripped it open, stunning Sina. He stuck out his long, perverse tongue. "Let me have a taste of you," he said, "that I'll show you where you stand." The princess's gaze remained unchanged. Zaganda reached out. Suddenly, a large explosion erupted outside. Startled, he paused and pulled back the curtain. "What's happening?" A demon soldier reported. "We're under attack. It's humans." Zaganda was worried. "Humans?" More explosions rocked the carriage. He jumped onto his horse. "Counterattack! Don't be afraid!" Both sides clashed. Atsushi and Kinta attacked relentlessly. Kai and the others supported each other. Zaganda looked at the battlefield anxiously. "Am I losing?" Arashi, Erasure, rolled his shoulders and stepped in front of him. "You're a high-ranking demon, right?" Zaganda summoned his weapon. "Who the hell are you?" Arashi clenched his fists, grinning. "I don't need to tell trash like you my name. I'll tell you if you put on a little show for me." The insult enraged Zaganda. He roared and attacked. "Shut up! The likes of you are nothing to me." He launched a powerful attack. Arashi jumped up, throwing a punch. Zaganda used his spear to block it. "You think you can beat me? With this kind of firepower?" Arashi's face showed worry. Zaganda thrust his spear, forcing Arashi to jump back. He kept a safe distance. Arashi grimaced, thinking, "He's strong, but still not as strong as that other guy. I just need to add a little more energy. My blast takes a lot of energy. I can only fire it 7 more times. If I overuse my divine power, my physical abilities will decrease. I just need to create an opening and aim for this guy's head or heart." He crouched slightly and placed his hand on the ground to plant a trap. Meanwhile, Zaganda was thinking, "These warriors are human. They possess divine power. Could they be the hero candidates of legend?" He twirled his spear. "If they're the ones who defeated Windbox and Stonegeyer, then I need to be more careful. How are they able to pinpoint my location? They're intending to rescue the Beast Tribe princess. Fortunately, I assigned soldiers to guard the princess." Zaganda's eyes hardened. "I need to make a decisive move. I need to defeat the one who's leading them." He charged towards Arashi. "That I'll decide this battle with a single blow." Lightning thrust. The attack was sudden, but Arashi managed to dodge. Seeing his torn clothes, he was startled by Zaganda's speed. Arashi focused on the demon. Zaganda was urging his horse forward, right where Arashi wanted him. He smiled. "Right at my minefield." Arashi used Mind Blast, creating a large explosion that startled Zaganda. "What is this?" The explosion frightened his horse. Singed, Zaganda thought. "Is this a trap skill? Damn it, my vision is blocked." As Arashi charged forward, he thought, "Mind Blast is just a trap skill, but I've finally created an opening." He appeared behind Zaganda, his hand glowing red. "Now I just need to ambush him with Blast." But before he could, Zaganda's eyes flashed. "There you are." A powerful gust of wind erupted. Wind thrust. Arashi grimaced. He couldn't dodge completely. The thrust sent him sprawling. His teammates called his name. Arashi got up, clutching his stomach. That hurts." "Focus on the situation, everyone." Zaganda raised his voice. "You can't even use your energy to protect yourself anymore." However, he was still worried. His instincts were as sharp as an animal's. "I've figured out his fighting style. He can set explosive traps. He can detonate anything he touches." Zaganda stepped down confidently. "As long as I hold this spear firmly, I can win." Arashi, his face determined, thought, "I guess that's what you're thinking, huh?" Zaganda extended his hand, continuing wind thrust, forcing Arashi to dodge. He smirked. "This distance is perfect. From this range, he won't be able to touch me." Arashi asked him, "So you've figured out my fighting style?" Zaganda smiled. "Obviously. You're always changing your position." Arashi raised his hand. "That's right. The one who's unguarded is you." He used his skill, Cannon Blast, firing a beam of energy. Zaganda's eyes widened. Arashi poured more energy into the blast. A large explosion occurred. A large crater remained. Zaganda lay motionless, blood flowing from his mouth. Arashi stood there, his coat billowing. Information appeared. Name, Erasure Sunsuk. Age, 17. Divine Protection, Explosive Blast Level. Divine Protection, Mind Blast Level 2. Divine Protection, Cannon Blast Level 2. Physical Strength Level 4. Mayu on the sidelines was astonished. Whoa, he took down a high-ranking demon all by himself. The demon soldiers panicked. Lord Zaganda is dead. Have we lost? Akira, while attacking, shouted, Erasure defeated a high-ranking demon. Let's keep up this momentum. He used support buffs. Everyone's weapons gained increased damage, and they launched a full-scale attack, easily defeating the leaderless demons. Kai stood with 2 daggers and walked forward to a carriage. This must be the carriage, right? He stepped forward and pulled back the curtain. Before him was Sina, her top ripped open. The princess spoke. Human, are you here to help me? Kai looked at her. I'm wondering that myself. He took out a dagger and stepped closer, cutting her ropes. She wiped her face and asked Kai what he was aiming for. He coldly replied, something that the demons also want. I've decided to use you to achieve my goal. Sina rubbed her wrists. How honest of you. Kai replied indifferently, there's no reason to lie. Or would you prefer to hear that we're here to save you? Sina dropped her hand. I can't. But if that's the case, you think it's reasonable for me to fight you, right? Immediately, her hand shifted into a demigod beast form, covered in fur and claws. Sina's eyes turned cold as she lunged at Kai. He reacted quickly, leaping back. Sina, in a frenzy, attacked Kai. She swiped with sharp claws, but he dodged them. Kai, weapon in hand, admitted she was fast. The two clashed fiercely. This, the power of a beast man. Sina's flurry of attacks were easily blocked. After a while, he grew tired and shouted, Jolt! Bolts of lightning struck Sina. Her eyes widened. She slammed face first into the ground. Kai pinned her. He thought, a basic lightning spell, nothing powerful, but really handy. Sina gritted her teeth. TGH, how can a human be so strong? Kai narrowed his eyes. Finally realizing the difference in our power, you have two choices. 1, restrain yourself and follow me. 2, obey me. Knowing she was no match, Sina resigned. Fine, going with a human is better than going with a demon anyway. The group led by Arashi, Arisher, had the upper hand. Monsters lay scattered. One remained, roaring in fear, sweating. Who are they? There's no way I can win. They're monsters themselves. Arashi called out to Kaori, Chinami, who immediately drew a magic circle. Vines glowed and wrapped around the monster's legs, pulling it flat. Arashi slowly approached, grabbed its chin, and squeezed. Tell the demon lord this, he growled. We have no quarrel with him. We'll just blow his head off. Not long after, everyone gathered. Arashi held a piece of meat. Their carriage had so much food. Kina took a bite. We're having a feast today. Kaori felt guilty, like they were robbing someone. The girl beside her laughed. Meanwhile, Sina sat hesitantly. Kai spoke up. What's wrong? Why aren't you eating? Although Sina was drooling, she held back. Is it really all right for me to eat? Arashi tore off a large piece. It's been a long time since I've had a decent meal. Kai slurped some soup and glanced at Sina. That we still need something from you. So if you die, we'll be in trouble. So eat. Hearing this, Sina no longer held back, thanking them. After one mouthful, her expression was like heaven. So good. The girl beside her was proud. Delicious, right? Hano's cooking is always amazing. Hano was embarrassed. Mare asked, your name is Sina, right? How did the demons manage to kidnap you? Sina remained silent, then recounted the events. I ran into the demon lord's army while I was hunting in the forest. She recalled the scene. That I was deep within the Federation's territory. Normally, demons wouldn't be there. Sina hesitated. Does that mean they knew where I was beforehand? Kai calmly speculated. Perhaps they were already planning to invade the Federation. Kidnapping you was one of their objectives. Kaori wondered why. The girl beside her answered, because they invaded the Holy Kingdom. Maybe they want to rule the world, right? Sina agreed that that's exactly what the demons are planning. But what do you humans want from me? Kai frankly expressed his intentions, that we need you to be our bargaining chip. We want to cooperate with the Federation to destroy the Demon Lord. Sina asked back, destroy the Demon Lord? Are you serious? Arashi suddenly spoke up. We have our reasons. He explained, we can't return to our world until we defeat the Demon Lord. Sina finally understood. That I see. So you're the hero candidates. I heard that humans summoned you. Kai asked, so what do you think? If you sincerely help us, it would be a great help. Sina nodded. That I understand. I owe you for saving me. Kai casually threw cold water on her, but we weren't planning on rescuing you. Sina was taken aback, but didn't argue. Well, you did save me in the end, and you gave me warm food. Sina clearly expressed her viewpoint. Moreover, to purge the demons within the Federation, I need support from a third party. This is just my intuition, Sina stated, but I think there's a spy among the high-ranking members of the Federation. All right, that's where we'll wrap it up for today. Now, I want to hear from you. What would you rate this story on a scale of 0 to 10?